In preparing for the release of Trials Rising, which is coming out in February, I wanted to get reacquainted with the editor. So I jumped into the Trials Fusion track editor and I started playing around just to kind of reacquaint myself, get my feet wet, so to speak, when it came to building tracks again. And I wasn't planning on building anything substantial. I was just jumping in there just to see, kind of get a real feel for tracks again. Just kind of get back in there, get in the zone. And I ended up making an entirely new track. I wasn't expecting it, but it started coming together and I was liking what I was seeing. And I liked the progression of the building process. It was coming along very nicely, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and make a track. Just for old time's sake. It had actually been over 3 years since the release of my last new track, the last track that I put out that was entirely new, called Asylum. I put that out in August of 2015, so over 3 years have passed since I made a new Trials track from scratch. I have put out some modified versions of existing tracks between then and now. I'll take an extreme track and tone it down to easy, or tone it down to medium. So I've done kind of touch-ups and re-releases of tracks with minor modifications just to kind of keep the dream alive and keep people interested in my tracks and just playing the game in general. So again, I didn't plan on making any new tracks for Trials Fusion, but what I ended up doing was making an entirely new track, my final track for Trials Fusion. I don't think I'm going to be making any more for the game just because the new one's coming out right around the corner and not a lot of people are playing Fusion. I mean, the track has been on Track Central for over 24 hours and has less than 100 downloads. So, not saying that's a huge bummer. I wasn't expecting, you know, huge, massive numbers or anything like that, but it's a long shot from where it used to be with Trials Fusion. Whenever it first came out, and I put a track out pretty soon after the game released, it now has over 80,000 downloads, and it was a pretty popular track for a while. But at the same time, we aren't getting anywhere near those numbers anymore. People just aren't playing Trials Fusion like they should be, or like they used to be. So with that being said, there's really no incentive for me to keep building tracks for Trials Fusion. Trials Rising is right around the corner, and I'm just going to jump right back in it. What I ended up making was a track called Evergreen Air, and I put my gamertag initials in the track title for the first time ever, and I think I'm going to be doing that moving forward. So for my Trials Rising tracks, I think I'll put OP in brackets right before the track name so people can more easily find tracks created by me. My track is it's an easy track. I mean, it's not difficult to pass at all, but it's going to take a little bit of work to get that platinum medal. You have to kind of take advantage of the jumps that I have and the mechanical platforms that lift you up into the sky. And some people really hate those. I am fully aware of that, and I expected some backlash whenever I included them in my track, but I've never really done them before. So this is more of a first, more of a trial experience, no pun intended. The end results came out really well. Whenever you hit the drive line perfectly and you hit everything the way it's meant to be, it's a really fun track. You're flying through and you got these cool jumps and these great views, and it works so well together. I think it came together quite nicely. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but you know, that's my opinion. I think it's a good track. I think others would agree. It didn't take super long to build. It took about 3 or 4 days of me working a couple hours a day, just really plugging at it. A lot of it was just me decorating the line. So I actually made the line. And here's an early version of how that looked, just right from the beginning. This is the work in progress. Final product came out looking very nice. As I started adding the scenery and the trees and the sound effects, I adjusted the lighting a little bit. It really came together, and I created kind of a cool little unique nature track. So I hope you guys like it. It is in the top 24-hour feed right now in Track Central. Or you can just search for my gamertag if you're on Xbox, or you can just do a search for the track title on other platforms. You'll see it there. Yeah, and the cool thing is, I didn't even really plan for this, but the top times on the leaderboards are really close. Number 1 on the leaderboards is TBM. He's a pretty well-known Trials writer. He's really good, and he plays a lot of these Track Central tracks, and he actually achieved number 1 on the leaderboard, beating out my time, and I can't get any better than that. That's like my all-time best time on that track, editor or not. I can't get any faster. But he used the Pit Viper and I used the Roche. So you could actually get really good times on this track using either one of these bikes. And as you can see, number 1 and number 2 are separated by 0.083 seconds. So it's super close, down to the wire, a hair's width. And yeah, so it's a good little track. I hope you play it, and it's going to be, like I said, my final track for Trials Fusion. So that's kind of my send-off to the game. And I want to thank RedLynx for making such an awesome game and being so supportive and being inclusive with the community. And we'll be all back. We're going to get the gang back. We're getting the band back together for Trials Rising, and I'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching.